Hi, Algebra 1. What we're going to be looking at today is getting ready to start Chapter 8. And so when you're at this station, you should have in front of you this pre-Chapter 8 activity. And we're going to do a couple together, and then you're going to be able to finish this on your own. So in order to do Chapter 8, you have to know about your generic rectangles, and you have to know about how to find some area. But we're going to first start with area and perimeter. And so let's take a look at area first. So how do you find the area of a rectangle? Well, the area of a rectangle, okay, equals the base of the rectangle times the height of the rectangle. So it's base times height, okay? You'll also see that written as you'll see that as width times length and all that, but we're going to use base times height here. And so you're going to be looking at this guy. That's the base. So how long is that base compared to what is its height? Okay, so we have height here and we had base here. Okay, find out what that base and height is. Go ahead and multiply it and put your answer there. All right, let's talk about perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around an object, okay? So in this case, it's going to be the distance around, it'll be that distance around our rectangle. And so what you need to be able to do, okay, is you need to find what is this length here plus this length here plus that length there, and finally, what is that length there? So for a rectangle, a square, any kind of quadrilateral, you are going to be adding each of these four sides together, the distance. So for example, this distance is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have a distance of 7. But make sure it's a square, make sure you count it, and see if you can at this point find the perimeter of this quadrilateral. Pause the video here and see if you can finish it. Okay, that is just a simple reminder of what area and perimeter is. You need to do questions 2 and 3 now. So at this point, pause the video, find the area and perimeter of the rectangle, the 7 by 12 rectangle. And then 3 is kind of interesting because we broke our rectangle into 4 different rectangles. So see if you can find the total area and total perimeter of the large. So it'll look like this. So you are finding, you're going to be finding this guy. You want to find the area of the large rectangle and the perimeter of that large rectangle. Okay. You can use the pieces. You can think about what is the total distance. There's a couple of ways to think about it, but it's the same as above. Area is the base times the height, and the perimeter is the distance around. Okay. Pause the video here and see if you can find it. All right, Algebra 1, welcome back. One of the things that, that I like to do with these number 3, we're going to check your number 3. So you could have found the individual areas. So the area of just this rectangle is 7 times 11 is 77. The area of this little rectangle is 33, or 3 times 11. Then we have 8 times 7 is 56. Okay, and we could do 8 times 3 is 24. Now you could find the area of all the little ones and then add them up. So if you did that, okay, that's a great strategy. If you chose to see it like this, which is another unique way of doing it, this whole distance is 11 plus 8, which means that gives us 19. And this is going to be 7 plus 3, which is 10. So you could do 19 times 10 as well. So either one of those ways you can find that area. All right, but what happens, guys, when, remember, this is Algebra 1. We quickly move away from just rectangles with numbers. What happens when you get something like number 4? How do you find the area and the perimeter for number 4? Well, remember, these are just algebra tiles. It works the same way. Okay, your area is still going to be base times the height. Okay, and your perimeter is the distance around, but this time you're going to have a bunch of x's in there. So let's take a look and see what this guy is going to be. All right, like this one. What is the base? That's the base. So I have x, x, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So what is, let's do our area here. So we know that our base, we had 2 x's, so it'll be 2x at how many ones? 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. So our base is going to be 2x plus 4. But remember, it's an area, which means we have to have the height. So let's look at the height. The height is, well, I have an x and a 1 and a 1, so it'll be x plus 2. Now notice that's not so bad. That's just writing the area in a very different way, guys. And I'm going to move this stuff around so it'll look good. There it is. That's our base times our height. Now notice it's not nice like 10 times 19, but that's okay. That's where the algebra comes in. Now I'm going to let you guys find the perimeter, okay? Add up all of the x's, add up all the ones, and see what you come up with. You're going to come up with an expression, something like 7x plus 10. I don't know if that's right or not. Okay, you're going to have to figure that one out. All right. But now let's focus on something that we know, and it's just an area. Perimeter is going to be important, especially next year, but for right now, today, and in all of chapter 8, we really want you to focus on what's the area of this rectangle. And we're no longer going to have those rectangles with the numbers. So here's our rectangle. And we just talked about how to find the area as a product. Now, the word product means length times width, or in our case, base times height. So I'm going to redo that. So this side is our base, x plus 4, and this is our height. And the word product means to multiply. But in Algebra 1, you also have to be able to write the area of this rectangle as a sum. And the word sum means to add. And so there it is, you're going to be adding. So what you need to do is you're adding all the pieces together. So how many x squared pieces do we have? Well, let's find out. We have, there it is, we have 1 x squared piece. So we put x squared. Okay. All right. So how many x tiles do we have now? Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, but don't forget, sometimes our x tiles get split. So there's 4, 5, 6. So I know I have an area of 6 of those x tiles. So I'm going to add 6x right there. Now our last one is going to be, how many units do we have? Well, all of these guys represent the units. So let's color that in. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you have to be able to write the area of this rectangle 2 different ways. Area as a product and area as a sum. Okay, all right, pause the video here and see if you can answer the next 2 questions. So we are looking at question 5 and question 6. Okay, pause the video here and see if you can do it. Okay, welcome back, Algebra 1. Hopefully you are getting the hang of all of these rectangles again. It's been a while. We started them in chapter 3. We're going to continue on here in chapter 8. Okay, your next challenge is what happens if you get just pieces and parts of these rectangles, and what happens if they're generic, meaning you don't have to have every single tile laid out for you. You can have them in a generic sense. So notice on this example here, you have 2x plus 5 right here. Well, that means the base is 2x plus 5, but I don't have to write out how many x squareds I actually have, how many units I have. I can just say my base is 2x plus 5. I don't need to write out all the individual tiles. And my height is x plus 3. So how do you fill it in? We'll go back to that first page with our little rectangle that we had. Okay, let's see if we can fill this in. Well, x times x is x squared, and then you have 2x, so you're going to get 2x squared when you multiply. Remember, we're finding an area, so we're multiplying here. X times 5 is 5x. Then I'm going to take 3 times 2x. So 3 times 2 is 6, and you get the x with it. There's your 6x. And then 3 times 5 is 15. Now, once you've multiplied and you've filled in those squares, what you have to do is now write the area as a product and write the area as the sum. So let's go back to our product. Our product here is the base. So that's our base, 2x plus 5. And our height I had in red. There's our height. So there's our product, base times height. Now remember, the sum is how many pieces do you have? Well, you have 2 big pieces right here. So I have 2x squared pieces. Now where does that 11x come from? Remember, you have like terms. So I have 6x and 5x. There's that 11x. And then I have 15 units. Okay. All right. So your challenge for the next page here is that you, given all of the clues, you might be missing some pieces and you might have to like put some together, is that can you write the area as a product and the area as a sum given these 4 rectangles? Now look at number 8. You've got to fill in those blanks. Look at 9. You're missing some crazy blanks in here, but you can do it. Okay, see if you can fill in the blanks. All right. Last challenge. Okay, pause the video here and see if you can do 7, 8, 9, and 10. Pause the video, and then let's try the next one. All right, guys, hopefully you've had some success with that. We're going to check answers in class, but hopefully you are seeing how this works. Okay, last challenge that you have to remember how to do. So remember, we've done this and it's kind of expected you know how to do these. Now, if you're like, wow, I don't remember any of this, or I wasn't here for chapter 3, don't worry. We'll make sure you guys understand this, that this is the things that you have to know to be able to start chapter 8, okay? All right. This go around is now you have to work backwards. Before we've kind of given you that rectangle and we've given you the dimensions, meaning we gave you the base and the height. But what happens if we give you the area as a sum? How are you going to find the area as a product? So meaning, how do you find the base and the height? So let's take a look at this first one. Now you have algebra tiles at your table. You're going to need to grab a bag of those algebra tiles, and we're going to work this first problem of x squared plus 3x plus 2. All right, so I have to get my screen here. Okay, so our first equation here is going to be x squared, sorry, I can't do squared, plus 3x plus 2. Now that's your clue, guys. That's your hint of what you need. Okay, so what that x squared means is I have one x squared tile. So everybody grab an x squared tile. Then you have 3x tiles. So grab 3x tiles. And now you have 2 units. So grab your 2 units. Now your colors are going to be different than mine, which is okay. But now remember, here is the challenge. You need to take all of these pieces. You have to use them all and make a rectangle out of them. Okay, we did this, remember chapter 3, where I told you, you have this group of tiles, now make a perfect rectangle. Okay, pause the video here and see if you can make a rectangle using these tiles. Okay, welcome back, Algebra 1. Your picture should look something like this or something that's been rotated 90 degrees, okay? Now, remember the rules of our rectangles. Some of you might have done this different, but here's the rules of all of these rectangles, and we'll talk a lot about this in class later this week. Your x squared tiles have to be in the bottom left. Your units have to be in the top right. And then your x's are going to fill in between, okay? All right, now that you have this, draw this rectangle on your paper. And now you get to tell us what is the base times the height, meaning you already have the area written as a sum. You need to now figure out what is the base, what's that dimension there, times the dimension here. So your job is to find what's the height, okay, and what is the base. Please, if you understand this and there's somebody who's struggling, offer to help them. And if you are struggling and you feel very lost, please don't worry. We will work together and we'll get you straightened out. Okay. All right. For the rest of this station, you need to finish 11 and 12 and see if you can do 13. Okay. You've been given the pieces. Take those pieces and make a perfect rectangle. And we'll see your answers when we get to class tomorrow. All right, thank you, Algebra 1. Keep working hard, and we'll see you soon.